Soon you'll start seeing something to tell you to say it's okay, that you're ready to go.
Lightborn looked like he's still over in New York. Got his jacket on.
That's my memory, my tribute.
All right, then I'll be there. We're in that spot. Okay, let's hear. Okay, wow. Hey, first off, let me say Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Fatherhood Think Tank. I am Dr. Ron Osborne Williams. Um, we are back, and we are, as I can say, I know that we're excited about tonight's topic. As you're watching, hey, if you're getting it on, uh, just click the bell at the top, like, share, subscribe, all the above. We're looking to try to move our numbers up to get this out to more people, so more people can enjoy some of the content reference to fatherhood and topics around the world. And then if you're not interested in showing your face and being on this, definitely come back tomorrow night for the private fathers only meeting. We're just going to be talking about issues that really affect fathers around this topic as well as other. So I want to welcome everybody here to the Fatherhood Think Tank. And I'm going to let the fathers introduce themselves, and then we're going to get to our exciting topic tonight.
All right, I'm gonna jump in since everybody ain't doing it at the same time. Brother Johnny Gaspard, father of two young adults, 21 and 24. I'm excited in 2024. See that? To get this thing going with fatherhood. We got some great topics to start off the year out. I saw you at Lightboard set those topics out. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be all this year when we start talking. So just excited about sharing and hopefully encouraging some young men and some families to just be better, be closer, and hopefully move in a direction of positive familial relationship in 2024.
Hey, Happy New Year, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 3 females, 3 young women, I'm sorry, and 4 young men, 1 granddaughter, and 1 grandson, actually, that's due to be born this month right here. And so it's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to see what come out of this. Thank you.
J. Rob Menard. Good evening, fellas. Father of 2 young adults, 120, 128. Just a pleasure to be back in the new year with you guys. Happy New Year to everyone watching out there. And like Gaspar said, I look forward to a whole bunch of stimulating conversation going on.
Clay Robinson, 3 kids, 6 grand. I work in the area of domestic violence, anger, and other related services to try to help individuals handle court-related situations and or child child prevention stuff. And just, we talk about so many things, and I'm just trying to be a part of this because I really want to help anyone that I can. So I'm always going to try to be out there and be available. Thank you.
Is our administrator on here? I see because I know we got the owner of the school. Do we have the administrator who's going to speak about? Because he gonna have something to say about this topic. I know.
Good evening, everyone. This is Theon Eames. I am the proud father of 2 young men, one 17, one 14. Just glad to be back. I've been in and out. It's been kind of busy, but I am a Broward County School administrator. It's going to be an interesting topic tonight. Happy New Year, everyone.
All right, is that? I think it's Jay. Jimmy. You're on mute, brother. If you're talking, you're on mute. You don't said a whole beautiful thing and been on mute.
I'll wait till he gets
Jim,
off of mute to introduce myself. Or should
yeah,
I just go
Jimmy,
real quick?
You gotta log on and log off and log back on. And I think it'll lock you out.
Go ahead, Jay.
All right. Jay, father of 5. I have a 12-year-old son and way down to a 9-month-old son. And as usual, it's always great to be here with you gentlemen, and Happy New Year's to you as well.
I guess we can't get Fred in there. See, he might be at. He might be. Oh, let me get back. There you go. Oh my dog.
Adult daughter, one teenage son, a little one, and one grandson. And Happy New Year to everybody.
All right, there we go. And Jimmy, you back? Let's see if you can get.
Yeah.
There you go, Jimmy.
Yes. Thank you. My name is Jimmy. I have 3 kids. One 4 years old, one 5 years old, one 7 years old.
Okay, so Jimmy got.
2 girls and 1 boy.
All right, Jimmy. So Jimmy, you got a young category. So you gonna be expert today because it's really your age group of children that really gonna hear the message. So today, listen, folks. Today our topic is about baggy pants. But what happened is we had a topic that we put together, and I'm just gonna be honest. What I did is I said I'm gonna add on to this topic tonight, because I felt like, hey, let me get a part of all the clickbait that they got going on around Cat Williams things he said. But I think they have some relevance. So tonight's topic is the science of sagging pants are wearing a dress. So it's the science of sagging pants are wearing a dress. And at no point am I saying those are the same things, or are they are similar or what have you. I'm just saying that as fathers, I think when we bring that topic, what are we thinking about it? How are we viewing it? And where does it play? And I think they are 2 different topics. But I think when I put the pin out there, the picture for the app, they actually have pictures of sagging pants and guys with dresses on. I don't know what that whole thing. I got that from an ad. So as you look at it, you can look at that, and I can't wait to kind of hear what this conversation is gonna go tonight, because with the administrators on here and how think about students coming to school. I know strongly my brother's point of view about the freedom of us being able to wear what we want to wear and don't let people determine what we are by that. But hey, tonight we're gonna go ahead. Listen, let's go ahead and get on in it. I see Johnny look like he's ready to put his hand up, but he's just biting at the chomp. So go ahead, Johnny. I know you.
Listen, I was gonna say, I'm guessing the brother who felt like that is Brother Lionel Lightburn. Listen, I me and him will agree to disagree on the sagging pants, wear what you want, how you want, where you want it. I'm old school. There's a time and place for everything. How you present yourself to the world is how the world will determine who you are before you open your mouth. And we all know, as young Black people in this community, before we even speak, we are judged, even by our own kind. You don't even have to say nothing. You just look like I don't want to be around you. And that's why, to me, it's imperative that despite the fact that we want our children to have their own sense of self and creativity and imagination, we also want them to understand that this world don't care about your imagination and your creativity in many spaces. When you get to the point where you're now in control of who you are and what you want to do with your life, then you start to make your own choices. For example, I'm looking at Jimmy's picture in the background with the dreads pulled back. If Jimmy is a 21, 22-year-old looking for a job in certain places, even though he has his dread neatly pulled back, professional with a suit, they got a problem with that because Jimmy is going to be the face sitting out there. Do we want that? And I know and I'm not running off the topic. I want y'all to get where I'm coming from. It's just about presentation. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot of places that wouldn't want Jimmy with the dreads in the front talking to anybody as the host coming in the door. Not because he doesn't know it.
Listen, I'll tell you one place exactly. Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Really?
Yeah, a good friend of mine worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and he had to decide if he wanted to continue to work there because they told him, "Hey, you're doing good. You real guy, man. You're a great guy, but you gotta cut them locks."
And see, now in certain states, there are laws against that. Okay, Florida isn't one of them yet. We're still working on that, but California definitely is. But as far as, and hopefully we can make that a federal law, and they call it the Crown Act in reference to it, which is an acronym regarding your hair. But hopefully that will become a federal law so that the states don't have their own opinions on it. Federally, you can be persecuted for just like any other sense of discrimination. Okay, but I was sharing that to say again, I just believe I own a small private school, and we're at grades 1 through 12, and many of my kids feel like they can come to school with their hair looking like, many of the athletes that you see out there with their hair unkept. I'll use that word, unkept, in my personal opinion. Dressed how they want to with their pants looking to, hanging off their butt. I'm not presenting that to the world. And I don't want you to present that as a student attending my school. And it's not me saying, yo, you're not smart enough. I had a parent really come at me about that. Talking about, well, we from the islands, so that's our culture with the dreads. I said, miss, don't hit me with the islands chopping this, because I from the islands too. I grew up with people with the dreads, and you know what? They know how to keep it neat. There's a way you could keep it clean. So I had to hit her with an accent because she was thinking, I ain't know what she talking about. Then she quickly calmed her behind down. I was like, I apologize, Mr. Gaspard. Yes. And I said, well, simply, ma'am, look, it's not about your son having his dreads. It's about keeping it neat. He ain't walking around here looking like he just got off the street and woke up this morning and don't know how to comb his hair. So I think for us again, and for me, I'm still old school. And you present yourself to the world because I know how the world judges us. Even in this social media world where everything is instant, we are judged by the way we look. And before we open our mouth, we don't oftentimes get the opportunity to prove our intelligence and our capabilities because we don't look a certain way. That's my issue with the sagging pants and the wearing the dress thing. Oh, we're going to jump on that later on, but I'm going to move and let y'all go into something else. My bad.
I want to make a comment on that also because, a lot of times people say it's freedom of expression, right? But if you ask the person, what are you expressing? There's nothing that they're expressing by doing it. So just say it's a freedom to choose the way I want to look. And there's a big difference between saying I'm expressing something versus I just like a style, right? Because when you start to say I'm expressing myself, there's a message that comes behind that. And if you can eloquently deliver the message that comes behind it, I'm all for it. But if it's just, I'm wearing my pants sagging because everybody else is doing it, there's no expression behind it. You see what I'm saying? Now, again, I agree with Gaspar in the sense it's all a matter of how you present yourself. And a lot of times, the problem that I have is, why is it that a lot of people, some people, equate looking a certain way or dressing a certain way or speaking a certain way not to be of the Black African culture? You see what I'm saying? Like there's no intelligence in it, where there's plentiful intelligence in it. And even there's even evidence that fashion comes from it. So it like boggles my mind that if you hear someone speaking properly, you don't say, oh, I like the way you speak. You're saying you're talking of a different culture. You sound white. Let me just say it. You sound white, right? No, I'm just a Black man who just puts a verb together in the right place with the, the subject and the predicate and all that other stuff. But it's not about what I sound like. I just speak properly, and that's all that's to it. And again, it brings it back that is one of the things that people look at, especially with the way that you dress as a, you can't, everything that is, how I should say, proper is not of another culture. It's part of the same culture. It's just different people looking a different way.
Let me ask a question real quick. As we would talk about sagging pants or presentation, are we looking at juveniles or minors, or are we looking at someone who is a young adult? Because when we talk about success, achieving, working, et cetera, and putting your life standard together, you're now looking at young adults. But the young adults who have already started to dress a certain way, is that because parents failed at home, or parents are very comfortable with their appearance early on? When Johnny talks about a school, what's going on in school? How is he talking to the kids, or he needs to be talking to the parents? Is he telling them about something? For me, once you get to 18 years of age, how much control or influence does a parent have? And kids nowadays are very outspoken, don't want to be told, want to be respected, and want to have their social image or impression themselves. They don't want to hold on to what mama and daddy said, So when we talk about this, are we talking about little kids? Or are we talking about young adults? Talk to me, people.
Well, that's why I'll have to remind them that I would put them against the wall if they ain't trying to hear what I'm saying. And it's not, and again, and I see Lightborn face with the smirk. It's not that I don't respect them and their creative ability and their freedom. I just want them to have some pride in their presentation. Is it hard for that? Lightborn, go on in.
Hold on. Before Lightborn, go ahead. Let me say something, Clay, and let me say something also to Johnny, to you, and to you guys. I have been in school now since August, high school. I have not seen one person sag their pants in school, because the uniform is not sagging pants anymore.
Correct.
The uniform this uniform that these kids have now is asking them to take that goddamn mask off.
That part too.
The new thing is
a lot of those.
They have jogging pants on, and jogging pants are tied up all the way up the top of their waist. They have their hoodie on, their hood on, and a mask. And that's how they think that's how they come, that's how they walk. Listen, and it's hard to tell them to take the mask off, because since they realize that it's a conformity thing. Now, since they realize if you got like the shiesty mask on, we can tell you take that off, whatever. So they just get a regular mask, and then they put the mask on, and they got the mask on all day. Then you can't even see. Some of the kids, I don't even know what they really even look like, because I've never seen their face, because they got the mask on at school every day. And they got the hood on. So it's a great conversation we're having, but the trend has kind of changed. And I ain't seen no booties, no boxers, no nothing lately. All I see is, I don't even know who half of the people is I'm even seeing now.
You're still seeing it, Ron. Most of them are pulling the shirt down, and they're wearing the bigger shirt so you don't see it. But if you look at them, you can still see that the pants isn't hanging, isn't up on their waist the way it should be. I know we discussed the whole mask thing before. It's sort of a way for them to kind of shun themselves from society, so they're not being seen, because they don't want to be seen. So we kind of had this conversation.
Let me say this. Also following the trend of
correct.
The people, and listen, because on every one of the little YouTube videos that they watch and the artists they watch, all the people got masks on.
Yeah, don't mask.
And so they dress like the artists that they see that they want to belong to. The problem, I argue this, you should want to belong to your parents more than you belong to those people. And it's up to us sometimes as the fathers to say, you should dress more like me than this joker out here. I know you might like them, everybody else like them, but I'm the one buying your clothes. I'm the one. I listen. But again, that's hard to say if dad doing the same. Dad got a shot ski mask. Shot ski mask on too, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, Ron, but it's cold up there. It is.
That's another. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
It's different because down here you still see it.
We in South Florida. Ain't that cold
in South Florida.
Ain't that cold in South Florida. Well, go ahead, Lightbird. I think you want to jump in.
So we're going to talk about the science of sagging pants. The science
of it.
Yeah, the science.
Okay. Now, you talking about gravity? You talking about gravity?
No, science. Just science. I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you the problem with black people, and I'm talking about from top to bottom. The problem with black people is we need somebody to feed us our narrative. We're so conditioned for that. I think we have even our most intellectual black people have slave mentalities. Slave mentalities is not limited to the bottom. I think it's extremely traumatizing at the top. Let me do a sidebar real quick and address J-Rob's point about talking white. Yes, there is a such thing as talking white, J-Rob. And the reason there's a such thing in factual, because I believe in two things. You talk from your feelings or you can talk from your facts. So let's just talk from the facts about everything. We're just going straight facts. So let me shut your point down real quick, J-Rob, and let you know there is a fact, and science is just a simple term for study. So don't let the word scare you. It's a simple term for study. Study, science, same. And so what the studies show, J-Rob, they even got commercials, really funny commercials, infomercials, rather, not information, what they call it, public service announcement running with housing authorities and different like that. They have the people calling and they sound like a black person, and the person talking about, oh, we ain't got no units available. You understand? But when the person call and sound like a white person, they say, oh, we got units available. And so that pretty much shuts your perspective down on that one, J-Rob. So there are facts and studies about that. Now, let me shut the other feelings down about this segment.
Hold on.
Wait. Before you go further,
I'm saying, but
I gotta say something about
that. That was real disrespectful. I'm gonna just shut you down. I'm gonna shut your shit.
I'm gonna tell you, and it's a science. Guess what? It's a science behind me doing that. You know
that was intentional.
All right, now you see it's a science.
Okay.
It's actually some logic behind me doing it.
I'm gonna be quiet.
The reason I say I'm gonna shut it down because what I wanted to do is now what I had to do is just talk about turn the mirror around. You see how you dismiss the science of sagging pants? It's how I'm dismissing everything you just said. And I want you to feel like the people who actually sag their pants, the fact that you didn't even think it was worth the study is why I turned that mirror around and show you like what you said wasn't even worth it. Because there's facts that actually dismiss what you just said.
Gotcha.
So that's all I'm saying. And so when I'm saying that to say this, we are very dismissive when it comes to our own studies. And so truth of the matter is we really don't study each other. We're very selective in our studies. And we determine what we should study some people and not all black people. You see what I'm saying? And that's the detriment of us. Because truthfully, had you studied black people and the science of sagging pants, you would have ruled the industry of it, because I can tell you 3 major companies that capitalize off of sagging pants. Something started in the black culture, right? Started in the black culture with black children. I'm gonna tell you the facts about my opinion on it. Then I'm gonna tell you the facts about it. 3 industries: Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger. You understand? All of them took what black kids were doing and they saw this evolving trend called hip hop and they capitalized on it. And so what they did, white people did, was created industry from black expression, while black people just created infamy. You understand? And so when I say infamy, that means simply just means drama. You understand? Or about how we feel. Because had you had the facts, you can build something with it. But because we just always have feeling, we build nothing as people. Now, let's go to the facts. So the fact of sagging pants, I can go with a simple opinion. I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna go to the simple opinion last. Let me go to the facts. So the facts is just basically it. You have to find something that's a fact is something that exists and that can be proven. Would you guys agree to that? Okay. And so if that is true, then let me just go ahead and throw that in the garbage too, that sagging, starting in prison crap. The fact that you can lie on a whole culture of people at a whole particular time is just beyond me. Nobody ever gave an apology, even though that theory was proven as a lie. It never had any facts behind it. So sagging never started in prison, so let's throw that in the garbage. The reason I'm throwing that in the garbage is because the laws of first mention says that the first time you hear Saggin starting in prison, it peaks at 1994, right? And so that's the first time. I mean, you Google it, you ain't gonna get no more than 1994. You're not gonna have nothing documented before 1994 of Saggin being mentioned starting in prison. So that's garbage. You throw that in the garbage. Then you go back. You gotta, and remember, first mentions, you gotta beat the date of when somebody says something. So if you have some facts that can beat that date, that can actually prove itself, then you can say, okay, this is a fact that beats that, and that's not even a fact, but beats that opinion, and it becomes law. So Saggin in a sense, right, it was an urban trend that started in urban communities only, right, as a part of the hip hop culture. And to your point, Ron, there's not a generation in history that ever wanted to look like their parents. Just like their parents, I'm gonna tell you. There's not a generation in history ever look like their parents. And as a sociologist, you would know that. So there's not. So that's just it's always a dynamic between and the differentiation between generations. So that's just the makeup of humanity. That's just no generation will look like their parents. Back to the facts of Saggin Pants. And so when you go to first mentions, then you got to go to the documentation of 1988, 87, and 85. Those are the facts. And you can find those facts in about two songs, one album cover. 88, Biz Markie, Vapors. You can find what Biz Markie says, and he's distinctive about, he's talking about referencing Big Daddy Kane, and remember Big Daddy Kane before the change, and he described what Big Daddy Kane was wearing, which was inclusive of Saggin Pants. So that's 1988. 1987, Vapors was 1987. 1988 was actually Eazy-E. And you hear We Want Easy, and the girl asks Easy why, and they used to run the video all the time on the Box Network. What do you call it? Y'all remember the Box Network? The Box, yeah. So they used to run the video all the time on the Box, always in the loop. And the girl asks Easy, why you wear your pants like that? And he say, oh, for easy access, baby. So that's 1988. The Vapors is 1987. Now here's the biggest fact, which is 10 years before, almost 10 years before you ever heard Saggin starting in prison, which actually started here in my hometown, in my own Liberty City, which actually was 2 Live Crew. You actually see the trend on the album cover of 2 Live is what they call us. That was actually 1985, 86, which preceded the first mentions of Saggin starting in prison. And so when you have those facts, and the question is what make me look for those facts? Because the truth of the matter is, and this has just always been me, maybe it's just God ordained, maybe I was created to do it, but I actually, because I advocate for people, and the majority of the people I advocate for are poor, nobody really studies poor people issues. That's the problem. And so, which gives me, it's like, it's a deficit, but a benefit at the same time, because I get to clean somebody's clock in these kind of conversations. I get to clean your clocks because I don't care how much feelings you got. If you ain't got no facts, what you're saying ain't worth squat.
But
and
okay.
So, go ahead.
No, I'm saying
again. And Ron, I mean, and Jag, you know this more than anybody. And so I'm saying, if you can respect this in their world, you have to respect it in ours.
And I got you. And I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The respect aspect, if that's the choice you have, is what you're going to do as an adult. Coming back to what Clay was talking about as far as children versus adult, I get it. You're an adult, you're going to do. I just know if you come to the courthouse with your pants sagging, you're not getting the benefit of the doubt from the judge.
Okay, no, and listen, I'm not again. And what I'm saying, I'm talking about a bigger picture.
I got you. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because again, I think I like that. What it was the Great Debaters, and I love that line that Denzel Washington kept conveying. He was like, God is the standard.
Gotcha.
And when he said God, what he was saying was, what he was doing was taking away the inferiority, number one, and the intimidation, number two. So when they did debate these people, they saw them as either equal. There you go. And that's what I'm saying. I said, so it's important, not just on the Great Debater movie. It's important that we know our whole narrative. And so for me, I understood because my generation actually started the Saggin Pants. And so if you ask me on the simplest term, I'm like, well, Saggin Pants in the simplest form, or the simple reason on why Saggin Pants exist, I'm like, because it was an urban rites of passage. Now, what do you mean by that? Well, it's an urban rites of passage, which means that back then they didn't make, and here's the truth, they did not make boxer shorts for kids. They were always for adults. They was always old men's drawers.
Gotcha.
They were actually for older men, because even the younger men weren't wearing. They was wearing, sexy underwear, bikini ass, whatever. And so what happened was my generation took a liking to the boxer shorts, but we were too small to wear them, and you couldn't fit a small pair of boxer shorts until you got to what? Middle school. And so what that boxer shorts became is a rites of passage. You ready for this? From little boyhood to big boyhood. And so when we showed those boxer shorts, it shows that I don't wear briefs. I'm a big boy and I wear
tighty whities no more. I got
right. And so, and you know what is equivalent to? You ready for this? Because this is where it gets beautiful, because it just keep on blooming and blossoming. You know what this is exactly equivalent to? Girls in bras. Done.
from an urban perspective, right?
No, I know. He's right.
Holistic perspective. That's a holistic, right? Because you think about it, girls have the same issue with bras, and so really, the same thing with drawers is the same thing the issues girls have with bras, and with bar size stuff, they bra stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. So what happened? But I think because they were black kids, is where the injustice came in at. And so what we did was we demonized and criminalized their expression and gave everybody else a pass.
Well, I get where you're coming from, Brother Lightborn, and I thank you for the historical and as you said, the study of why that became a thing in our community. We saw it in the music videos becoming very much like Ron described. The kids want to look like what the celebrities are moving like. And then many of our clothing designers started making clothes that were extremely large, which then just led to the sagging happening even more, whether it was FUBU or any of those other designers, the clothes were extremely large. So it led to that even happening. Even if you had a belt, your pants still looked like it was sagging because it was that much larger on you. So I get that historical perspective and where you're coming from a science part of it. But ultimately, as we all understand, yes, there is, and as I said, I think, you're not disagreeing with me on this, but there's a time and a place for everything in reference to that as well. Because I'm not and this is again me being an adult, understanding how important education is to me and in my household, and historically for me, education just wasn't about the books. You understand that from us as a people in going through slavery and Jim Crow, education was never just about the books. It was about how you presented yourself. And sadly, for many of us, it was about how you would live for the next day, whether or not you lifted your head when you were speaking to the white lady or the white man, how you talked to them, where you were. Did you cross over the train tracks or not? Or you stayed on this side? So education was never just about the books. It's always been the holistic aspect of us and how it impacts us as a whole when we're dealing with this society as a whole that we're in. So as much as, and I get Lightborn's point of it, but we are not just in the African-American community. We are people that are impacted by every part of society. And sadly, when you are talking about how the world makes determinations on who we are, yes, they're still going to judge us even when I am 6 foot, bald head, with a tie on and a suit and dress shoes on. They still gonna make a judgment, even though I look like I'm supposedly doing the right thing. So I get that. The difference, however, is because I look like that, I may get, and I use that may, get the benefit of the doubt in that situation versus the kid with the sagging pants or wearing a dress, God forbid, and he's a male, but he, she, and don't know the pronoun or different pronouns or whatever, and I'm gonna stay away from that. But gonna get the benefit of the doubt again, and that's where I come from with it. My thing is always about, I want us to get the benefit of the doubt when you're walking down the street, even when I know because of the color of my skin, oftentimes I won't. And that's all that I don't want to add any obstacles to my situation. That's what I'm trying to say in reference to that. So my goal is always to teach our children, don't add any obstacles. don't add any extra weight to your, and not that your color of your skin is weight, but I'm saying it because I already know, like, we're gonna go there, because, you know, but I understand the society we live in and how we are judged. So I just say, don't add any obstacles to your situation. And that's why I am with that.
But, you know, I think we were conditioned, and and it's a sort of a involuntary oppression. Now, what does that mean? Right? I like to make words. I think we were victimized and traumatized by involuntary oppression, because if we're going to take the and not saying what not so much our ancestors, but our parents. So not saying what I think what our parents, the core of what our parents and the foundation of what our parents taught us, by all means, value that for the rest of your life. But what I am saying is where it becomes involuntary oppression is because if we keep living in what was, we'll never live in what is. You understand? And because we never really challenged to live in what is, we are stuck in what was. And so that's why I think and I have to throw Obama in here too. I love him, but I think we are very reckless when it comes to talking about our own and talking to our own, and very responsible in talking to others, and feel like we don't owe them the same tact. You understand? And it's almost like we don't give no real thought, no real intellect, and no real deep anything, no inspiration when it comes to talking to our own. It's you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I say the reason, and I'm like, we're so, and truthfully, if the oppression was equal, you understand? You'll be demonized, and we would be freely demonizing boys who wear dresses like we worse than we do, or just as much as we do boys who wear the sagging pants. I think boys who wear sagging pants got demonized more, got far more. Matter of fact, they still read this now. That style been in existence for about 30 years. Hip hop is 50, so about 30 to 40 years that style been in existence. And here it is, boys just started wearing dress, and we're scared to talk about boys wearing dress and criticize boys wearing dresses more than we are scared to talk about boys wearing sagging pants.
You know, might get canceled. You might get canceled when you start talking about people.
And so back to your point, correct. And so when I am saying, had we been for our boys when they were sagging their pants, you understand? Like the advocates were for the boys who wearing the dress. You understand? So much so that we don't, most of us, I mean, at least I don't approve of my son wearing a dress. You understand? And I can voice that. I'm like, I don't approve of my son wearing a dress. But if that's his choice, I can, guess what? I can embrace that and respect that, because he's my son. And particularly, even when we want to identify with my son, he still can identify with being my child. So I have no problem with it, but I think we are very selective. Right now, I told you involuntary oppression, we're very selective of what we're going to be indignant about. And we've been dogging these boys out with these sagging pants for years. And now all of a sudden, everybody's cheering when Dwayne Wade's son puts on a dress and walks down the road.
That's a different argument, though. That's
a different argument. It's an exact
Lightborn, the social climate has changed tremendously. When you talk about 30 and 40 years ago, brother, moving to right now, you cannot, as we say, get away with saying things about people who dress a certain way. You can't get away with it. So 30 and 40 years ago.
Wait a minute. Let me finish my point, Clay.
Go ahead.
And the fact that you saying, you ready for this? For something that you very well may approve of, which tells me this. It tells me that, and I'm going to say this, and I want you guys to be offended by this. Usually when people say that, they mean to offend you. So I'm saying that if that is so, and the climate has truly changed, and our principles and all that other stuff we were raised with, you understand, that was supposed to be non-negotiables. You understand? Because you know what a non-negotiable is, right? Because I'm pretty sure you deal with this stuff. Everybody that deals with sociology, but the teacher, psychologist, therapist, you still have that thing with non-negotiable. And so all of a sudden, that is popular, and not so the fact that you can lose your integrity or even your soul, the fact that you can lose your job makes you negotiate at a point of something that you would normally do. And so the fact that you guys are telling me that power actually changes your persuasion, then I have to question your education.
Well, you can question a lot of things. As Johnny mentioned, the Crown Act. Now, if that's referencing hair, and they're trying to go state by state and hopefully perhaps federally address the hair. Now we talking about hair. Now we're not talking about putting pants on or putting a dress on. We're talking about hair. And we are now advancing enough to try to address that. So we making changes. Society is as a whole, but we're never going to be a blanket society. We're never going to be complete or total. So there'll always be fringes. There'll always be resistance. There's always going to be conflict. With that being said, as you were talking, I've looked up a little bit on the saggy pants, and they talked about the saggy pants from the prison concept because prisoners were not allowed to wear belts, because you could not wear a belt in prison because it could be used as a weapon or you could kill yourself. So because of that, pants sagged, and they weren't trying to make it popular there. That's just the way it went. So, and then I thought about Kid and Play and the kids, the young rappers, the young kids who wore their pants backwards and stuff back in the day, all big sloppy clothes. The clothes were so sloppy that the hell they could put them on backwards and run around and hang out. Times change. When times change, and then when you give us so much factual stuff, but facts and emotions or feelings are two totally different things. It doesn't matter. We can research a million things and we can know it. However, how do we deal with that? Because no matter what we know, in Lightborn, you're a very knowledgeable person. As you say, you study and you try to help. However, no matter how many people you help, there's always going to be somebody running around with the saggy pants. It's going to be the dresses. It's going to be you, and you can put all that great information out there. But what do we do with it? What can we do with it?
So what? But let me say this really quick. What if we? I know that one of the issues that we have an issue with is, and I think like when you brought this right into light, right? When I'm talking about dresses, I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm talking about a regular person, a regular guy dressing up like a girl, and dressing up like a woman, as this idea, and that the idea that it is offensive to say something about somebody doing that, because then you may become homophobic or misogynistic, but not having that same energy when somebody may be talking about, because initially, if the alleged stories and the urban myths is true about sagging, right? Isn't that the same? Isn't that the same thing? Or are we trying to make is it different? Because if sagging is the urban, that's what because you use that to try to tell young men not to wear it, because don't wear your pants sag, because in prison they wore the sag because they was the booty guy. The booty guy had them and this and that, and but now it switches, and it's like, oh, better not say nothing about people getting dressed up like girls and doing this. And I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm not talking about identity. I'm talking about exclusively what we allow our kids to wear and put on. Like, even if listen, let's change it to them wearing demonic symbols. If they were goth, right, and they wore gothic clothes and things that went completely against our morals and our religious and our faith, we would allow our kids to wear that and say, well, that's what they want to wear because that's what they want to wear, how they want to wear. We may at some point say, hey, you're not gonna wear no Jesus upside down inside my house, okay? Because I got my black Jesus on the wall, I got my President Kennedy and Barack Obama on the wall. You can't
MLK. You forgot MLK.
But we see Gothic. We see Gothic. We don't jump up and down about it.
Right.
We see dresses. We don't jump up and down about it. And the only thing I'm saying is that socially, we have advanced enough to minimize the conversation regarding appearance. And as Johnny said, when we talk about the Crown Act, we're moving. And that's the only thing, because now that we're moving in so many different directions to be more acceptant, obviously people can do more. Because without resistance, if mom and daddy not saying, oh, hell no, you can't do that, I'm going to do it. And then the other kids are saying, I'm going to do it anyway. If you want me to leave out your house, I'm going to leave. You can't tell me what to do. And that's where, what do we give up? What do we give up for holding our kids' appearance, do we give up our kids? Do we give up our relationship with our kids? Because too much push will destroy the relationship. And that's some of the things that we've learned too.
I want to touch a little bit on what Ron was saying.
Go ahead.
Because I think it's kind of your points, what you were saying, it's not that it's bad. I think there were just extremes of something, right? Because when you start to look at the dress thing, and I understand you saying it's not sexuality or anything like that, but with the dress thing, it's about the emasculation of a man, right? The you see what I'm saying? And it's used as a tool. And what they were saying is that it's used as a tool to weaken the perception of a man and what a man is.
Gotcha.
And so when you start to, and like everything else, when you start to make it commonplace and acceptable, you begin to get desensitized to it, right? Okay. And so then once you see a man walking around in a dress, you're just like, oh, whatever. But you don't understand the underlying tone of what that is and what that means and how it impacts people, society, families, cultures. And so that's why you have to look at it. And it's not the same as sagging pants. Far different from sagging pants. You see what I'm saying? Because sagging pants doesn't emasculate a man. It's just an appearance. My problem with that is
with implied mindset, with an implied mindset versus a dress. I got you. Go ahead. That's what I was saying.
You're on mute.
He not on it. Gene, we can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can.
Yeah, so I was saying it's two separate things. And
okay. You may have some internet issues, Gene. All right, go ahead, Lightborn, jump in.
No, but you know what I wanted before I jump back in? I want to let any other fathers who got some perspective or anything you want to say on this issue, by all means, jump in.
Go ahead, Lightborn.
No, anybody else? I've been over talking. Anybody else want to talk about it? Let's get in. Jump in where you fit in, baby.
Hey, how you doing, fellas? My name is Vincent. I love this topic because I got young kids. Everybody got young kids, and they trying to program us to the point where they even put it in the cartoons now. How they trying to desensitize, especially they specifically put it in to the narrative that they want the black men to be shown like that because, like Gene was saying, I usually be looking at this guy named Tariq Nasheed. He be hitting on the head with everything that we be talking about. But it's mainly because they trying to demasculate us to the point where we're not only they're not afraid of us. They know that a heterosexual woman won't respect us or even look at us as being a proper mate and respect us as such. They would think us as a male bitch, which is sad, but it's true because you're looking at a Mitch, basically, like Kevin Hart done put out there. But it's true because you got to understand, even in the modern days, they used to have certain dress attires, but that's in the white people. Even in Africa, when we used to wear stuff, we used to always have like underwears and stuff like that under us. So it's not like it's nothing new, and it's to the point where we have to have these kids go out here and explain to them, and they're even targeting the kids so bad to the point where you go to schools, they got teachers that's transgendered, and they want to introduce the teacher as in a non-binary and all this other crazy stuff, and they have different words of old type and all this other type. No, either you're a man, you're born a man, you're born a woman. A wise person once told me, if a man is in an island, if they have 10 men in an island and 10 women in one island, and they stay there for years, they're gonna die. We won't be able to mate. We won't be able to do nothing. You get what I'm saying?
By themselves, correct.
By ourselves, because we need the opposite sex to evolve. So it's to the point where it don't make no sense for them to even look at it like we have to be programmed and desensitized by what their outlook is. It's actually frustrating. That's the reason why, like, I feel like people may not like him, but I respect Little Bootsy's stance on that, because it's enough things going on. And even though if his oldest daughter choose to be gay, he don't like it, but he have to respect it. And he said what he said, but he have other kids, other daughters that he want them to grow to be heterosexual women and be as such. And it's frustrating to see that. I even have daughters, and I have a daughter, and I have sons. So I have to be in a position where I'm battling all of this, and I have to look at what they doing to us, and I really need. That's why I'm glad I'm here, because I need y'all help. You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, what you just said is exactly why fatherhood is so important, because we are protectors, not just of the women in our household, but we're not just protecting them from physical harm, but our goal as the fathers is supposed to protect them from any harm that could come into the home, whether it be emotional, spiritual. That's our job as the priests of our household. That's what the word tells us. So when you're the priest of your home, you're the one that keeps the spirit of God over your home. You're the one that speaks about life in your home. You're the one that sets the boundaries of what could happen in your home. So we're now forced to be even more on our guard as parents, because and as fathers, because if you're not, you are right. It is being indoctrinated in all aspects of media. Every commercial, every TV show. I could turn on something, or a Christmas show on Lifetime, or what's the other station? A Hallmark. I thought I could go to Hallmark and I ain't got to get impacted by it. Now I go to Hallmark like everybody else. That's where the money at. We got to be able to reach. Then we have to be able to get to the pockets of these people who are, believing in same sex and non-binary and all those other things. So again, all I'm saying is, as when we talk about dresses and we talk about the sagging pants, coming back to that aspect so we could bring it back there, it's about how do we continue to cover our children and our family, and how do we prevent, even if a man is dressed like a dress, how do we explain our children in a manner to allow them to see him and or her in the way they do, and still not be impacted because we're present. That's what it is.
So Johnny, explain that bias. That's what that's going to be, a bias. So how are you going to explain that to your kids without helping them to become more biased? And then the other thing, Johnny, is that when your kids don't feel as though they want to be protected, I want my pants to sag. You saying, oh, no. So now your kid is saying, I can't stand my daddy because he won't let me do what I want to do. So how do you, now they don't want protection. They want to be let loose. So talk to us about that too.
Let me help with that. Because as Johnny, as you were speaking, and I think that it's important that we really understand the difference between indoctrination and parenting, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we are parenting our children, we can eventually know if our child is I'm going to be very, very honest. We can know if our child may have some feminine traits.
Gotcha.
Or some masculine traits outside of who they are, right? We don't have to force them and do things to make them do otherwise.
Correct.
But we can also love them in a way that they're not influenced by somebody else's how they should be. Because I think this is where the indoctrination part come in, where your child is not even like that. But because they maybe have some low self-esteem, they might have some abuse or anything like, and now they're saying, oh, I need to be this because this will make me feel better. Oh, this will make me different. This one, and a lot of that comes from not having the initial love and support from their original parent. So yes, we're going to have kids who listen. I'm not I'm not saying what you will and what not, but we will have kids who will grow up who may be homosexual, and we may have kids that grow up to be, but we don't need people to uh influencing our kids when they don't have the right influencing from us as parents.
Gotcha.
On what they should be, because that's the grooming, when we talk about grooming happens not just when you tell a son, hey, let's get dressed up in these suits every day and you're gonna look proper, we're gonna look like real men. That's grooming.
Correct.
But when we say the person telling them, oh, it's okay to walk with your hand like this and do a little extra, that's grooming as well. And we have a complete different opinion about those different kind of grooming. So it really resorts back to what you initially said, Johnny. We have to be engaged and impact with our children as much as possible on that in that aspect, to find out who they are and who they want to become. And we need to be able to support them in that and who they are and who they're becoming. Not dictate who they can't be, or giving them the freedom to say they want to be whatever they want to be, because that's not parenting. That's not disciplining. Discipline is saying, okay, you feel like that. Why do you feel like that?
Correct.
What makes you feel like that? Is that how you feel? And I understand that. But here's some of the factors of you understanding this. And that's a stronger support that you can give your child. And I think
that's your answer, Clay.
Huh?
That's how you deal with the 40-year-old that says, or the 50-year-old that says, I don't like my dad because I'm trying. No, I was just listening to what you were saying and your direction, Ron.
But dad had
to Clay.
But dad has to also had to been reinforcing those things. And here we listen. We leaving out a big major part. Let's keep it 100. We leaving out a big major part that half of the dads don't have that influence on their kids.
Gotcha.
That our influence, even when we live in the household with them, is somewhat limited based on the factor of being a man in a society. We have to go an extra mile to be able to do it when we have our kids in our house. So imagine these dads who don't have the kids at all anywhere around them. They like hopefully that their genetics sprinkle off, and then they can get a little spark with their kids of what their kids can do, because really the environment where the mom is and what that environment is the really true influencers of what's happening until they get to that puberty stage and they start having so much independence.
So then their friends become their,
and sometimes that doesn't work out in the household.
We in this group have experience and knowledge. We have the ability to express and identify and share and all of that. The vast majority of fathers say, I'm the man, I'm the father, hell no, that's not, and that won't work. So when we talk about trying to influence our kids, do we know how to? The vast majority, especially in our community, and I say especially in our community, because we holding on to a certain amount of pride. We holding on to our history. We want our kids to be a certain way, so we come strong. And that's what's not working today. That's the change that we have to be more prepared for, because again, that 10-year-old, don't come in my room. That's my room. You have to respect my room. So when you have to respect or give that child that consideration, you can't make them do something. You have to finesse them. You have to be able to talk to them, help them to understand, and gradually work that situation. It is truly, truly a communication situation. You can't force it. You cannot force it or you lose. And I got a number of clients who have lost.
I think one thing that when Ron said, I think he hit it on the head when he was talking about that we recognize traits in our kids. We recognize things about our kids. And I think Clay also was right in a sense where he said, the problem is when you recognize those things, you don't try to acknowledge and educate yourself. You just hit it. You go for it full force, right? And you're like, it's not going to be this way. Not in my house. And I think that's where you have to understand that individuality comes. A lot of times, I think that parents look at certain things as a failure on their part, right? And they take everything else out the picture. It doesn't matter what I did all up until this point, but because you did this one thing, I failed. Or you've become this one way, I failed. And a lot of times it's about understanding that individuals are going to be individuals, right? You lay down a foundation so that they can have the ability to become whatever individual they're going to become. And the values and standards that you place down are something that they're going to take with them no matter who they are. Sometimes you're going to have a kid, and it doesn't matter, and I'm not even talking about sexuality, I'm just talking about life, period. You're going to have a kid that you wonder why he keeps hitting his head against the wall. I taught you things, I showed you life, I poured all this into you, yet you keep hitting your head against the wall. And it's not until that individual is going to wake up and become who they're going to become that they'll say, you know what? You were right. I don't understand why I was so hard-headed. If I just did it like you told me to, I wouldn't be in this position right now. And again, it's just about individuals becoming individuals. And there's at some point you have no control.
It's so real.
I have to ask myself this question because you guys said something. And I don't truly believe in men or anybody for that matter having a defeatist attitude. So, I think it's very ironic that I think Clay is emphatic about a father not telling his kid what he can do. But on the flip side of that, you're open to another man telling another man what to do. And you should listen to what that man said he can do. So you're saying to myself, and I think it becomes a double-edged sword for me, because I'm saying to myself, I'm like, okay, if the parent have the authority over that child and he want to set those boundaries and guidelines, and if sometimes he have to be a little forceful and intimidating for those guidelines to try to get that kid to what they deem a successful outcome, then why you don't understand that like you would understand the very clientele you deal with in a courthouse that actually does and implements the same behavior. And so you accept it on one end, and then it is more degrading. You understand, to have men who are trying to do the right thing have to be degraded by men who don't have a history of doing the right thing by these men. You understand? But yet they're the standard. I believe, and I believe emphatically what the most peaceful man on earth ever said, and that's Martin Luther King. And he said, well, actually, Martin Luther King weekend, so here we go. He said, well, man, again, I strongly believe this, and I live by it. Man can't find something to die for, he's not fit to live. And I know emphatically when to use that.
Like one, don't misinterpret what I said. You're always going to address, support, and encourage your child. But what I'm talking about is the resistance of the child. And if the child resists, what do you do then? And if you persist, do you lose your child? That's the only thing I'm saying, because every single individual, every father, every mother should be giving a child proper guidance, direction that can make them be as successful in life as they can possibly be. But if your child says, F you, then what do you do? Okay.
You bust them in the mouth. That's what you do.
Like
you bust them in the mouth.
I know that we got an attorney here, and I know he didn't say bust them in the mouth.
So I see, but what I do see, and then I'm gonna switch ship a little bit to this other point where I see the fact that for all the trends that we talk about, sagging pants, yeah, boys and having and then not just boys and girls having the right now to identify as women or men, you know, whatever sexuality or whatever case may be. And with all that stuff going on, I was like, you know, there's a distinct difference between all of those trends, and there's two distinct differences between all those trends that's going on. With the sagging pants, and every other trend. The two distinct differences are this. Number one, that's the way. I don't want to leave you guys out. So there's a distinct difference between two trends: the sagging pants and the dreads you're talking about. That's what I want to do.
The what part?
The dreads, the hair.
Oh, the hair. Okay.
Which I call it the crown. The crown.
Yeah, the crown. Yeah.
Okay. The only two differences, and I just noticed this when we were talking, I'm like, I'll be damned, I didn't see that. The only two differences, out of all those trends, there was laws instituted against on those two sides. Nowhere else.
I got you.
Listen to me. Laws, and this is the saddest part right here. The laws for the sagging pants was instituted by 99.9% black people. Not one white person passed a law.
because it looked, and I'll share this because I believe our children will be impacted by it so much so, and it was creating a negative societal view of our children.
Now, since you are our resident attorney, so let me show you like. Hey, Jack, let me build my case.
Yes, you do that.
I was going to play like an attorney on TV or something.
That guy just died. Give me the law and support it with the evidence.
With the evidence, right. And so when it comes to what you're saying, let's say what you're saying is true. Did the law made it more dangerous as being a black man? Or better yet, even better, the law legalized it. And so whatever stop and frisk, you understand? Or whatever laws that would, you understand? You understand what I'm saying? Notice how I'm saying, we actually, the minute black people, 99.9% of black people passed that law or ordinances, you actually gave the police the legal rights to
harass our children. Yes,
there you go. And nobody, I'm saying to myself, we didn't see this? And that's what, so we say we born with a target on our back, but I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna legalize the target on their butt.
I hear you.
And so that's the thing and again, I'm like, but why did we not think in depth about it? I said, you know why? Because they wouldn't have promised children. And and nobody actually advocate for the like favorite children. Everybody advocates for favorite children because he makes us look good. What about the children that don't?
I hear you.
And so that's why you got such a rift and divide. Even in our political culture right now, you got a huge percent of people that's not going to be voting along the black lines, and they're black.
Right.
You understand? Right. So there is a huge internal divide that we're going to have to deal with. And if you think that just Saggin and other trends that we think that because we're doing well, and that constitute the wellness of other black people, you are sadly mistaken.
And I think that's where a lot of people will sit down and be like, well, Attorney Gaspard, you're doing well. You assume because of what is the blessing that you've been able to receive and how you present yourself to the world is how everybody else should. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. And I've had to learn that because one of the things my wife always said to me is like, she said, everybody don't have the kind of money you got. So when you say, because I ain't gonna lie, I used to make these comments on about, it's just $100. What are they talking about? It's only $100. She was like, yeah, to you it's just $100. But for somebody, that's their light bill, their food for the month. So I had to again check my privilege, for lack of a better term, in that aspect of things. So I do get where you're coming from, Lightborn. And I think as a people, when we do succeed, we want others to want to succeed. And we believe that there's a certain way to go about that succeeding. And unfortunately, at times, we tend to overlook other ways that people can also get that success because we just see it the way we did it. And I think that's where, when people start to become successful, they lose that aspect of, like you said, not because you have it, it doesn't mean this person down here has to be along with it to also get to the point they need to. So I get where you're definitely coming from. And that, I think that for me is the hardest part with the whole sagging pants or our children wearing dresses and the different things today, is that I know that succeeding based upon my experience, having the sagging pants creates a negative point of view for you. But as you said, when we created the law and the various ordinances to force our children to no longer have sagging pants in society, we opened the door for police to now police our children even more. And we didn't even realize we were doing that. So how do we now, as parents today, and I think that's the biggest issue that I run into, we have several people here that are in the school system on this call. And many of them as men see it every day that a lot of our parents are still children raising children, and their mindset makes it hard to be a proper influence on their child. Because like I told you guys, here I am at a school, this kid literally looked like he got up this morning, didn't wash his face, didn't brush his hair, didn't even care how the clothes looked on his body. And his parent dropped him off at the school. Now, how do I want to establish and set certain boundaries and expectations when at home it's not being set? So that's so as Clay had said earlier, should my conversation be with the children or with the parents? But when you start talking to adults, as we all know, and telling them their way of doing it, quote unquote, isn't the right way to do it, you create, and again, every way is not the right way. My way is not always the right way. But when I see how it can impact our children negatively, I want to do something about it. How do we go about doing that when our parents of our many children aren't really willing to do their part in the household? And it's 8:23, so I'll come back to the point again, gentlemen. As fathers, as guardians, as loving adults to many children that are not ours, how do we continue to impact them so that even if they do have on sagging pants or they do choose to wear a dress, we are still able to help them be positive members of that society? How do we get you about it? Is a question.
Think, to answer your question, I mean, I don't think it's a simple answer. I think it's an answer where you say, where do I start, right? It starts with the whole role model aspect. And everyone's going to say, I'm not a role model, but everyone in here is a role model. You see what I'm saying? Whether we're a role model to our kids, a role model to the fellow fathers on here, they look at us, right? And they're always watching what we do. And I don't think it really, sometimes we as people, humans, we pinpoint things about somebody, but never highlight characteristics about somebody. You see what I'm saying? And I think once we start to look at characteristics and try to understand them on that level, and then understand why they do what they do, as far as behavior-wise, we can then start to look at how we can help. Because a lot of times, our answers come through judgment. It doesn't come from help. I think someone had pinpointed that earlier today through the conversation, that we see somebody and automatically we just start judging them. We judge them. We tell them, hey, you need to do this. This needs to happen, whatever. We don't find out, why is he waking up? Did they have running water that day? Was he able, you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors that come into play that we sometimes have to understand, that maybe mom is frustrated. Maybe mom is having a lot of issues herself and she doesn't have time to deal with them. The fact that she got him to school, she said, I'm winning. You see what I'm saying? And so we have to start looking at characteristics and start exploring people on a deeper level than just the surface stuff that we see on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's where we start.
Hey, Gene, you know what
Thank you for checking me on that, J. Rob. Thank you for checking me
there. And I think, Gene, this is what we sometimes are not able to really do is, and Johnny, you would know, if mom had to do it all herself, dad could have caught some of that as well.
I hear that.
Parents, I used to tell people, once they start having 2 and 3 kids, y'all getting out, y'all gonna be losing the battle, because in the wrestling ring, normally y'all be good because it's 2-on-1. But then when you get another one, then it's 2-on-2, they got tag team. And then if you had 2 and 3, you have 4 kids, now they got the 4-man, they got the 4 horsemen against just the 2 of y'all. Y'all gotta call in grandma and grandpa to help y'all in the battle royal that you have. So it is, some of this comes back down to, and we don't want to admit it because we think we can do everything ourselves. It really comes back down to having these family values to understand that it takes not just one person. It doesn't take both parents. It takes the whole village to really cultivate that child as much as possible. Because clearly, if a child hears from 4 people,
same message.
I'll say, damn, everybody in my family said this. You can't be against everybody in the family. You surely can be against your mama if you're the only person in the house. You surely can be against your daddy if he stays somewhere else and your mama stays. You can do that. But when it's your whole, as we used to have this community, and everybody in the community would whip you before you got home for something you did, you then realize that this is a value that my community and my parents and my people do not accept. And so I can't do it. Now, only problem I have with that is that can also at some point be oppressive, depending on what is the standards that we're going by. You can't say because I can think very clearly, and like boy gonna agree with me. You can't say nothing because the white people come and kill you. So that means just be, let them do whatever they want. Let them treat your girlfriend anyway. Don't say nothing. Don't even stand up. Don't ever do anything. Just be docile, and so you make it back home. Yeah, but then that means that's all we'll ever be. We everybody make it back home, but we'd never have our own independence, our own power. You can kill me, but you can't kill everybody else in the community. You can try, but you can't.
Good point, brother Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Yes.
Ron, like that was like Menard said before, being an example. So look at all of us on there. This is what we do each and every day, right? In my school where I am, I have several young men that come from either broken households where dad's abusive, households where there's no household, they're actually homeless. I give an example. I have one, and personally for me, I don't care where you come from. I know when you're with me, you're mine. So it doesn't make a difference to me. So I have a mentor group in my school. I have 420 kids in there. My mentor group is about 45 boys, third, fourth, and fifth graders. I had a young man come in. This was a few years back. He was only in first grade at the time. Came to school. Didn't see him that morning, but I get a call from the teacher that he tore the room up. So I go in the room, and the poor guy, shoes on the wrong foot, no socks, shirt ripped up and dirty, just looked like a hot mess. Hair not combed, all ashy, just looked really, really bad. So I looked at the teacher. I go in there, get him out the room, and I'm like, yo, come on, come at me. And I don't have to, he's mad as ever. He's in first grade. I know he's homeless. So, yo, come with me, let's go. So we go in there, go wash your face. I take him up front. I got some partners at the school that I got them to donate uniforms. Go in there, put on a new uniform. Because his shirt it was 9 a.m. His shirt was completely dirty. Like he'd been wearing it all week. Go change the uniform. I tell my secretary, put some lotion on him, soap him up, whatever. Got some sock, I'm all dressed up. I said, you hungry? He's like, yeah, let's go get some food. The kid, he can talk fine, if he knows somebody's paying attention, somebody cares, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Took him to get food. We went back. I took him back to the classroom. And he said, I said, no, I'll suspend you. The fact he came into your classroom and you looked at him the way he was and thought that was okay for him to be sloppy, dirty, knowing that he's homeless and all this other stuff, knowing that I got resources for him. And if you not to manage that before he went and exploded because he didn't sleep last night and didn't eat this morning because he got here late, he didn't even send to get food.
And don't forget the part about this, Dion, the part that you see him come in and he was like that and you knew other kids would tease him. And that's where the set off comes. It's always, that's the biggest set off. We have to be interventive. We have to intervene and say, go to the front office, go see Mr. Theon and tell him that I sent you here for a pass for this and write the note so the kid can get the thing. Because you know that if a child is outside of the standard of other people, they're gonna become a target for bullying, a target for picking, and he gonna resort to exactly what he know how to do: tear this goddamn motherfucker thing up. Because that's what he knows.
I don't have the expression for language. That's exactly, because I don't have the expression of language. Correct. I'm a young male right now. We know we have a lot less vocabulary than any female, especially at that age. So I don't know anything. The only thing I know is anger right now because of my living situation, which I cannot change. So to have you in this position and have it was a female of another persuasion looking at him and expecting this behavior. No. I need to let you know. I need to let her know, like, this is not what we do as a people. Like the fact that you thought that that'd be normal behavior.
I hear that.
And you thought it was okay. That's not what we do. Okay. So that young man now is in 4th grade. This happened when he was in 1st grade. He's in 4th grade now. He comes to school every day with his white shirt on, his pants clean, homeless. But he knows when he doesn't have any needs, he'll come to the school and say, Mr. Eames, I need A, B, and C. Can you please help? Because that's what we do. The job to be an example. He's going to be something someday, somewhere. You're going to see him again doing something positive, but we need to make sure before he knows what his value is, I need to make sure that I know what his value is to put it in his head so he'll know in the future, listen, that everybody around me that was with me cared that much and set the example for me. And just doing that, I have a lot of young men in my school now, like teachers that I hired on purpose, like strategically, because I want my boys to see other men around that aren't like what they see in the neighborhood. Because I only become what I see.
So for all I see is, so-and-so riding around on a bicycle selling, that's all I'm going to do. No. I need to see other men out there that are mathematicians, doctors, lawyers, electricians. And like, I don't even care about all and like in my school, I don't have to say, put your pants up anymore. This is my 9th year there. They know the expectation. The parents come, hey, yo, dad, I need you to put your pants up. And I tell the dads the same thing. Yo, dads, you're at school, you got to put your pants up. Dads come and drop their kids off the Costa Rica weed. I'm like, yo, dad, I need you to stop that before you get to this campus. Because there's no reason why you need to smoke before you get here. You could do that when you drop them off. Like real conversation with real grown men. Because what I realized is they didn't have the example either.
That's it.
So if they didn't have the example, what are they going to be raising?
I love, Theon, you know what? I think you remind me of this saying my pastor heard him say it. The greatest thing that other culture who witnessed, and you said that this is not how we act. I think she was more used to seeing somebody who didn't give a damn about that kid.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much how the kid was acting. It was really how you act.
Right.
Which brings me back to this one saying, which I heard my pastor say about more than 20 years ago. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Correct.
And so with that, and I'm like, that's why I don't give a damn about stats. I'm gonna tell you something. If you're gonna truly be just and a loving person and a fair person, and Jesus himself cared about what people think about him, he went there and asked his disciple, what do men say that I am?
Yeah.
And so if that is true for the people who talk about it don't matter what people think. Oh no, it matters what people think, because that speaks to the validity of your character. And
correct.
So I think it's more important when it comes to dealing with anybody and any relationship. There's one universal truth. If you're going to be truly in a relationship and truly in a just and a loving relationship, then you have to be in the relationship with that person's humanity as opposed to their sexuality or their ethnicity. And when you start to achieve being in a relationship with a person's humanity, you transcend being the best black man you could be when you become the best human you could be. And now I'm just end it with
woo! That sounds good, but the question becomes, how do we become knowledgeable, aware of someone's humanity? Those are the things. When Theon said what he said, man, he hit the nail on the head, because more often than not, trouble brings a kid into school. He comes from an environment. I got a 22-year-old young brother just came into session, and man, he talk about where I live at, we don't care about the law. We kick ass, and if you F with me, I'm gonna F you up. And he say, man, I hate myself when I get angry. And he get angry so much, man, it's crazy. I told him, it's me and you. I got him for 29 sessions, so I'm gonna work with this brother because he is truly lost. But he grew up lost. His whole environment was bad. And man, if you listen to him talk, he can make you cry just talking about the things that he has been through. At 22, you hear me? Man, I tell you, Theon, whatever you're doing, brother, keep doing it. Keep talking, keep reaching, because more often than not, we're gonna see the trouble. And it's not the great fathers and the great families that's going to be our issues in life. It's always going to be the individuals that we kind of talking about right now. And the question becomes, how do you reach them? What kind of emotional attachment do you bring to the table? How do you talk to them? Do we know how to talk to them? When Theon said what he said, man, he got in it. And that kid at 6 years old, what is he going to be like at 12, 14, 15, and 20? If you don't connect, he'll be the one who'll blow up that whole neighborhood, shooting everybody and acting a fool because what? You said something bad to me. I don't like the way you talking to me or looking at me. Let's keep working, fellas. We got to keep working.
You know the most important words in the language. I love you. Like, and we don't say that. We don't say that to each other, especially. I had that same boy here outburst a few weeks ago, and somebody said, "You want me to get him?" I said, "No. I got him. I go in, and he was acting, and he was just balled up or whatever. And I'm like, "Yo, I love you, man. Like, we good. You're gonna correct your behavior. You're gonna fix everything and go put everything back the way it was. I'm not gonna dislike you or not like you because of that. You're gonna fix it, but I still love you. So now take care of your business." I have nothing to. I don't have to deal with him anymore like that. Like, if he has an issue, yo, you know what you got to do, man. We good. And he takes care of his business. But that relationship now, if I told him, yo, go rob a bank, he'd be like, because the relationship. But like, just because you build a relationship with them, better. You know, a kid in kindergarten, and if he's aggressive in kindergarten, it's because he saw that for the first of his life. But mom and dad hate each other, normal behavior for him. So how am I going to be mad at him when he thinks that that's normal?
That's it right there.
You know, you get mad for something that he didn't even know is wrong.
Real.
Hey, real quick, Gaspar, before we close.
I was going to tell Gaspar to go ahead and do the wrap up.
Real quick, because Gaspar said something, and after he said, "Thank you for checking me." I don't want you to think that I was checking you, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, right? What happens is, I think you, Theon, and everybody else who has an impact on kids in their life, what you're doing is showing another way. And I think that is one of the most key things, because if I let you live in your way, that's all you're going to know. Simple actions that you take, like telling them, hey, look, man, care about yourself. Pick your pants up. Dress it, there's another way to look besides how you look. There's a place and a time to look how you want to, but to understand that there's different environments, how you have to move and operate is a powerful thing. And so everyone on here has to understand that, when you're home, sag your pants all you want. When you're here, it's a different environment and a different feel and a different look that I want everyone to have. When you're out in wherever else you are, navigate those. And correct. One thing that we as people have to understand is we have to teach people, we learned it through our parents, how to navigate the different social aspects within our community. We can't forget to teach our kids how to do the same thing.
Hear that? All right. Well, hey, gentlemen, I thank y'all tonight. It has been one of those meetings and discussions that we went from pants sagging and dressing to all kind of other stuff, and how we can impact our kids in school and the behaviors and hair and the whole nine. So I can't, as Ron always says, we pick one topic and it runs into a myriad of things that allows us to have a very intelligent and in-depth conversation with people from various backgrounds. I want to thank all the gentlemen on here that shared their point of view, gave facts, opinions, and just a direction, another sense of direction on how to do things. So again, Brother Ron, you back on. Initially, I thought I was going to have to lead the way out, but Doc, you came in.
Don't worry. Listen, people call, when you only got one internet, and you got this, people call in, and that's why you don't want people to call in while you're working on it. But anyway, that's a long story short. Sure. Hey, listen, folks, again, this was a fruitful conversation. If you didn't get anything out of it, I think you might want to listen to it again. I know that every time that I have, even though I'm a part of the conversation, I get something brand new every time we on this Fatherhood Think Tank. That's why it's a Fatherhood Think Tank. Let me just tell you, thanks all the fathers for participating, coming back for the new year. And I got some really big surprise for you. We almost done with our new logo. I'm gonna pop that out there. The logo man is working on that. We're soon going to be on a brand new streaming network, so we're going to be able to stream. And I know that this is a big part of it, not just on YouTube, also on Facebook, and maybe even on Instagram at the same time. So now we're going to really be able to get the message out based on the new streaming network that we're going to be acquiring in a month. Okay. So we got big things coming. I want to get everything together so everything can happen one time, and we're going to really be branching out so people can really, and then we're going to go on a major push to get our subscribers up. That's all.
Got it.
That's all. Because I think that we are like one of the best kept secrets right now that people are, if they just got a little taste, they'll be like, man, that can help me. Listen, these guys helping me with real things that is affecting me right now, just with the just knowledge. So I just want to say again, thank you guys for not thinking it robbery to come on, and you could be doing so many other things and sharing at this time. And then again, tomorrow night, we're going to take this close it out just for fathers and talk about some real issues. I know some fathers who have some issues I met recently, and I'm making sure they come on there tomorrow so we can kind of support them in the best ways that we can, that we don't have. And I always going to reference this, that we don't have another incident that happened in Maryland where the brother gets so frustrated with the stress of being a father, dealing with the girlfriend, dealing with ex-wife, that he then goes to try to delete these people because he doesn't, and delete himself because he doesn't have an outlet. And this hopefully is the Fatherhood Think Tank, is an outlet that's here for you. With that being said, Father, repeat after me. I am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
I am
I am
a man of courage.
I am a man of courage.
I am
I am
a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
I say, fathers, I say, I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship
fathers.
Everybody stay safe.
Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow night or next week on the Fatherhood Think Tank. Like, share, and subscribe.
Blessings,
Share
Father.
with somebody.
Blessings.
Hit the
Take
bell.
care.
Take it easy.